Playing the game the right way. That's what we often hear about top recruits or professionals in the NBA. Someone who doesn't force his shot or try to turn on hero ball mode. Someone that tries hard on defense and is always looking to be a part of the team. Some players that come to my mind are Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, and the everlasting play of LeBron James. Well, what about the next generation of hoopers? For Steph, his oldest daughter is just 9 years old, so that will be a bit. For Jokic, I'm pretty sure he's just cool with horses, as his quote-unquote kids for now. Then we turn to LeBron James and Bronny. A senior at Sierra Canyon High School, LeBron Jr. is looking to carve out his own name in the world of basketball. And with his recent progression as a player, the reality is setting in that Bronny James is the real deal, who plays the game the right way. Born in October of 2004, Bronny's life has been surrounded by the game of basketball. Whether it was Cleveland, Miami, or now LA, he's watched his dad continuously go through the rigor of being the best player in the world, fighting for championships. So Bronny himself has dedicated his life to the game as well. As young as elementary, you could find the kid warming up with his dad on NBA courts. He'd play soccer for a time, but with the ruling against football and hockey from his parents because of injury risk, he honed in on hooping fairly quickly. By the 4th grade, Bronny James was leading his team to undefeated records and tournament victories. Wait, are we seriously talking about the 4th grade? No offense to Bronny or any apparent elementary scouts, but it doesn't seem like we should be concerned with how a 9-year-old looks on the court. And LeBron agreed. In the 4th grade, colleges were already trying to recruit Bronny to sign on to eventually play for them. LeBron even came out and said that it should be a violation for colleges to recruit that young. I mean, think back to what you were doing and thinking about at that age. Me, I was just trying to figure out how to find the save button on some of my favorite video games, not decide where I wanted to go to college in a decade. But that indicated an important part of Bronny's path in life. He was LeBron James' son, and to make it even bigger, he also loved basketball. National media attention was going to follow Bronny throughout his entire childhood. Just go and check out his Instagram, and you'll see the 18-year-old has almost 7 million followers. The kind of fanfare LeBron got growing up, as the chosen one, has now carried over after all these years to his son in the social media age, who has a lot of attention on himself and his game. So let's get into the details of Bronny's game. As we mentioned earlier, he's become heralded lately as a kid who plays the game the way it should be. He has a very high basketball IQ and understands when to do things like making the extra pass, or identifying a mismatch down low and sending it down low. His IQ and passing are going to continue to be the skills to lean on as Bronny heads to college next year, and presumably the NBA. Partially because of his natural lean towards that as he plays, but also because Bronny did not get his father's height. LeBron James is 6'8", while Bronny is just 6'3". As the years have gone by in high school, he's found himself transitioning into a pure guard role. He'll alternate between spending time at shooting guard and the point. But if there's no second growth spurt to come, Bronny will be quickly cast as a pure point guard at the professional level. But as of late, that shouldn't be a problem for the kid. His playing time in Sierra Canyon has provided two things for Bronny. One is the chance to play with future NBA players like Brandon Boston Jr. and Zaire Smith. It helped show him what it required to make it to the league and the skills you would need. Another is that even outside the players like those two, Sierra Canyon has been an absolutely stacked high school team. By his junior year, he found himself more of a role player than the star of a team. Whether it was because of the high-level recruits playing above him or his tendency to play more passively within the offense. But you could argue this is exactly what someone like a son to LeBron James needed. He already had a high name that shined a spotlight on him 24/7. Being allowed as a kid to function as a role player let him step at least somewhat into the shadows to refine his play. It also kept him humble and forced him to work for his opportunities. He'd carve out a role that is a connective piece on offense that could pass and knock down shots from behind the arc. He also worked on his hustle and defensive prowess, which by the time we're talking now, has turned him into one of the most promising perimeter defenders in his scouting class. So after all that work in finding his role, this past year, Bronny has started to step out as the real deal. In the EYBL tournament, the Sierra Canyon system was gone, and Bronny was the center of the offense. Although in the past, being the focal point has caused trouble with turnovers and being too passive, he fought through and proved he could handle it, averaging 18 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. He also impressed everyone from deep by shooting 43% from three-point land. I think it's safe to say with those kinds of numbers, colleges would be fools not to take a shot at the son of the king. So far, Bronny James has secured offers from the USC Trojans, Memphis Tigers, and Ohio Buckeyes. He currently holds a 4-star recruiting value, so might not get as many offers as LeBron promised Miami rings. But what's holding him back? For starters, his shooting was hot in the EYBL tournament, but overall, it remains somewhat streaky. Bronny has often fallen into the trap of taking highly contested shots that result in a low percentage field goal. His IQ is there in both passing and defense, but he'll have to refine his own shot creation to solidify himself as a pro. Another area that has been inconsistent is his handle. Bronny tends to bring the ball up and initiate the offense, with the ball bouncing fairly high. Whether it's because he tends to play too upright during his actions, or it just isn't clicking, the number of turnovers he produces will need to get cut out from his game quickly. But overall, the 6'3" 18-year-old has certainly solidified himself as someone to watch out for down the road. You can see the elements of his game taken from the players he's looked up to. One is obviously LeBron, with his solid frame and pass-first mentality. And the other inspiration is Russell Westbrook. You can see more in Bronny's game from Russ than just the jersey number. The kid has worked hard on a quick first step, to blow past his man, and the explosiveness to finish at the rim. Those skills will only get better as he ages and fills out his frame. But don't worry, his shooting may be a bit streaky, but he did not adopt the Westbrook shooting mechanics. His technique is smooth and showcases his dad late in his career. And that's where it gets really interesting. LeBron James will be 40 years old by the time Bronny could start his NBA career. He's made it clear multiple times that his ultimate goal is to play on the same team as his son before he retires. If you're on an NBA team, that suddenly becomes a huge incentive to take Bronny in 2024. I mean, it's an insane bonus to think about. If you're a small market team, like the Hornets or OKC, you could suck for another season and then at the minimum, get elevated to relevancy purely off the Bron duo. But I think that kind of talk overall takes away from what Bronny has accomplished. Growing up as LeBron's son playing basketball is an instant target on your back. What other player in his year was getting recruited before they turned 10? Or has made multiple headlines on the talk shows or sports television? But he's been able to handle it just like his dad did, back in the early 2000s. Bronny Jr. is a full-fledged college player and a legit NBA prospect, with or without his family name, which is the right way to make your way in life and the right way to play the game. Thank you all for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.